Today we are going to review Coaching, the Secret Code to Uncommon Leadership by Ruchira Chowdhury. She is an alumna of the University of Chicago Booth School of Business and straddles the corporate and academic worlds. She is a leading executive coach, adjunct faculty at several top-tier business schools, and runs a boutique consulting firm focused on organizational strategy solutions. Ruchira's diverse and eclectic functional background in mergers and acquisitions and in organization design, culture, and strategy execution, coupled with her 2 decades of leadership experience in emerging markets in Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa, help her grasp challenging people issues. Ruchira frequently gets featured in and writes for leading business journals. She divides her time between Singapore and India. Come, let's deep dive and find out about coaching, the secret code to uncommon leadership. I wonder, what is the secret code? And why is it uncommon leadership? As you finish the book, you realize that the uncommon leader is the one who maximizes the performance and potential of others by coaching through a series of formal and informal, non-directive, and self-enabling conversations. The uncommon leader engages, empowers, and elevates, and in doing so, elevates themselves. Joining me in this conversation is my dad, Mr. Bhaskar Natarajan. Hi, Dad.
Hey Manas,
So, what is your key takeaway from this whole book?
you have been asking me for a very long time, when can I apply for a coach certification, right? So I was thinking, what is the best way to introduce you to the world of coaching and leadership? And I found this book at the sweet spot. So thank you so much for being open. Despite your busy school schedule, exams, competitions, you took time to read this book. I'm very, very happy for it. Because author Ruchira Chowdhury has done a wonderful job of collecting best knowledge source and theories available in this book. That gives this book a very rich, breezy feeling of reading this like a novel, where there is a protagonist who is arguing the case for something what she believes in, and you are traveling with her throughout the book and getting convinced that this is the right thing to do, and the future is in the hands of leaders like you, Manaswini. That's why I think this is a very big takeaway for the next generation. Yeah. So in a nutshell, it's a very good read for an aspiring leader like you, someone who's starting their career, as well as a seasoned leader who has not heard of coaching before, or may have heard it not in the right context. And these frameworks, techniques, and various sources of inspiration that Ruchira has compiled will give a wonderful lift off to someone who wants to move from current orbit to the next one.
Ruchira also differentiates between a coach, a couch, a cheerleader, and a crutch. And she also tells what coaching is and what it isn't. It's a wonderful read, full of several anecdotes and quotations from various books, magazines, and research articles. And her interviews with leaders and personal stories are featured too. She shares many stories that illustrate the crisis we are going through and how coaching can be used to help us in those situations. This book is divided into 3 parts. Part A talks about what is coaching and why must leaders transform into coaches. Part B is a practical guide on the how of coaching. Part C talks about the application of fundamentals of coaching to leadership skills in specific situations. In the first chapter, the author rightly pleads a case that we are in the midst of a leadership crisis. Many companies are often run according to the super chicken model, which we incorrectly assume that leadership success is all about selecting our star performers and giving them all the resources and power. Superstar performers often fall short as leaders. Even the best talent needs to be harnessed and nurtured so that it can in turn nurture others, something most organizations tend not to do in the misplaced notion that superstar performers simply morph into superstar leaders. Today, business is highly complex and networked. The command and control styles of yesterday cannot be successful and need to be replaced by a more collaborative and collective approach to running organizations. The best coach for any team is the manager who leads that team. Who better to guide them to success than the leader who understands their individual strengths and challenges? The bottom line is that coaching is no longer a specialty. You cannot be a good leader or manager without being a good coach. In Chapter 2, Good Managers, Bad Coaches, the author explored the many reasons for managers not coaching or being hesitant to coach, and in some cases, not comprehending what coaching is. In collective cultures, people are not comfortable being asked to find their path because the boss is always expected to have all the answers. More often than not, in these cultures, it's not just the manager's behavior that dictates the emphasis on coaching or the lack of it. The employees often have a very different set of expectations from their leaders, that of providing answers or merely telling them what to do or how to do it. Managers simply conform to these expectations of telling and not asking.
So on chapter 3, Ruchira brings out a very good model of 4C+, where she talks about the capability, clarity, confidence, and consciousness on a foundation of culture. As we go forward, you have a wonderful compilation of various coaching models and a simple coaching template for someone who is just beginning their journey and understanding in coaching. She also talks about how do we create a growth mindset, and this is something we have spoken about a lot, right?
Yeah. When it comes to different situations or any problem we are facing, you've always told us to have a growth mindset, and rather than looking at what's gone wrong, we have to look at what we have learned in the process. A fixed mindset is thinking, I'm a failure, but growth mindset is thinking, I failed in this attempt, but I will succeed next time.
Ruchira does a very good job of giving a lot of inputs on what needs to change in the way leaders are taking care of their team members. On chapter 7, she talks about culture, which is a missing link in coaching. And Manaswini, the very interesting part for me is in chapter 8, where she brings out a coaching equation. C plus ARC equal to C of M plus C. So a lot of C I'll just explain in a moment. C stands for coaching skills and mindset of an individual. ARC stands for architecture, routine and culture of an organization. When these two are combined, you have a good coaching mindset and a capacity of an organization to excel. So in a nutshell, this equation means coaching skills and mindset of an individual when added to organizational coaching in terms of ARC, architecture, routine and culture, leads to the organizational capacity to coach, and more importantly a mindset where everyone will want to coach others, leading to a learning organization. On chapter 9, she also talks about how do we find a right balance between being tough and being compassionate by using the phrase tough love. So what about you, Manaswini? Something that caught your attention?
What really caught my attention is chapter 11, enabling women leaders to find the optimum balance. And what really intrigued me is the question, how is coaching women different from coaching men? Data confirms that underqualified and underprepared men don't think twice about asking for raises, promotions, or applying for senior jobs. But many an overqualified and overprepared woman still holds back. Women feel confident only when they are perfect or practically perfect. I feel that this really resonates with me because I'm a perfectionist and I like to give my 100% in everything I do. She also brings attention to the imposter syndrome, where women are uniquely affected by the intellectual experience, where they frequently express that they don't feel they deserve their job and are imposters who could be outed at any moment. And she gives a few tips for overcoming many of these challenges faced by women at work. One of the many tips she mentions is having a sponsor who is a highly regarded influencer. I like this idea, and I think I would think in this direction as I grow up. From a very young age, I've been observing you, coaching people, and as I was reading the book, I came across many terms which you yourself have used in many of your sessions, like VUCA and fixed mindset, growth mindset, and several other terms. So you must be already knowing many of the things which are discussed in this book. So what's something new that a seasoned coach like you would be able to learn from this book?
Yeah, so thanks Manaswini. Actually, learning never stops. I got a chance to look at many of these concepts from a fresh pair of eyes. And second, if you notice, the bibliography itself is more than 40 pages. Right? As a person who likes to double click and keep clicking on each of these sources mentioned, I found myself like a kid in the candy store. Lots of triggers, lots of ideas for me to formulate. It also strengthened my conviction of how do I take this message to a potential client or someone who wants to create an organizational wide coaching culture. All of these resources are available in one place. Would I recommend someone to buy this book? Yes, absolutely. And it's a very good, easy read. You don't have to sit and read cover to cover. But if you know the structure, general structure, and if you know where to find what kind of answers for the questions that you have been carrying in your head, it's a very good book to have in your library, especially when you're passionate about coaching.
I think that was a wonderful and extremely interesting conversation that we had, and we really enjoyed making this video. We hope you like this format of a book review. Do let us know in the comments below. The link to order this book is in the description box below. And disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. In case you're interested to know more about this topic, we have an exclusive chat with the author, Ms. Ruchira Chowdhury, this Sunday, 26th September 2021 at 11 a.m. IST. Please do like and share this video, and a sub would be great.